Hello everyone and welcome back. So I hope you remember things from the last session of MS Word. We started off with introducing all of the tools and why they are clubbed together as a part of Office tools or Microsoft Office to be very specific. And then we looked at the Word environment. Okay, the Microsoft Word environment tells you all about the screen on which you're going to type. So what are the parts of the screen? You have a title bar and you have a menu bar, you have a toolbar, and you have a footer where you can see a lot of details, right? So some of the things that we talked last time was that we have learned these tools earlier, but now we are going to relook at them. Why? Because we need to apply the features of these tools to the tasks that a manager does. Something like communication, coordination, collaborating with colleagues, with suppliers, with customers, okay? Presenting your ideas and making others understand your point of view. So, for a quick recap, there were four important things that we talked about while learning these office tools. First was the content. That means nobody is going to teach you how to build the content. So that is your understanding of things, your point of view, your expertise that will form the content. The next is the way in which you will format. So if content is what, format and style is the how of it, how you're going to be doing it. Over and above how to format and how to make your documents look beautiful, you also must know to use all the kinds of automations that are available in these applications. So every time you need not start creating the document from the scratch. You can always use templates. There are n number of templates available in your version of Microsoft Office or Microsoft Word to be specific. And if you don't have them, you can always download them. So as far as I know, almost all of the business tasks that you do and you need to generate documents, you will have templates available. So all you have to do is just use that ready-made thing, and that's the quickest way that you can start generating a document. So for example, you don't know how an invoice is created, you just pick up an invoice template and put in your details, the format, the style, the coloring, everything is done for you. You are applying for a job, you don't know how to create a resume, you can pick up one from the several resume formats that are available as a template. So a template means that you have a ready-made structure, you only have to put in your data. The easiest way to get started with, right? There are two important principles when we are working with these kind of office applications. First and the foremost is format your document, your presentation, or your Excel file in the best possible way. That's half the battle won. Because the objective of creating these kind of documents or presentation is basically communicating. And so if you are able to bring out the meaning of your document in the best possible way, your job is done. You have communicated whatever you want to, you have highlighted points, you have subdivided the points, you have tabulated your data. So half your communication is done, half your purpose is met when you format your document or your Excel data or your PowerPoint correctly. So the first principle is format your document well. And the second principle is make MS Office work maximum and you work minimum. Meaning, try and use as much as possible of uh, automated features that are there. So initially you may not be able to, but over a period of time, you must be able to quickly pick up the automation part of it, so that you are able to efficiently generate documents, communicate them, send them over emails, or share them, or put it on Google Drives, OneDrives, collaborate them quickly, right? So we cannot miss out on this fact that we are going for all these applications because we want to minimize the effort, we want to minimize the time, so we want to build in efficiency. And if you're taking longer time to create these documents, or you're struggling with the documents, you're struggling with the presentations, means that you are missing out on something. So what you need to do is, when you start off using Word in the initial stages, make sure you use as many automated features, as many automated formats that are available. Then you go on to creating your own stuff or creating your own document, because after a while you would get comfortable and then you would want to create your own documents. So today's session is devoted to creating documents, editing those documents, and formatting them in the best possible way. Okay. So what we are going to do is we'll take one sample document, and at the end of the session you will be asked to give uh, an assignment, right? So let's pick up a sample document like this, and we will try all of the creation, formatting, okay, of the document. Yesterday, we dealt, or the earlier session, we dealt with what was there in the file menu. So I'll just quickly recap what is there in the file. It's obvious all operations to be doing with the file will be there in the file menu, right? So in file, you have new, and you have open, and the moment you click on new, you get a lot of templates you can pick from that. Open is for existing file, info is the information about the file, you want to protect the file, you want to give it a password. All these things should be available in the file option. So we will see it at a later point how you protect a document, because when you have to collaborate, you will have to protect your content. The other things that are important is title to the document and tag. So like you give a keyword to for a book search, people can use the tag and search the document, or you can search your own document at a later point, right? Save is absolutely important. Even if you put two words, you should save the file. For the rules for saving, please give logical names to your file, save it in the correct folder, and give a version if you're going to keep updating the file, or you're going to make changes to the original file. The best way is to keep versions so you don't lose out on the earlier content. Yeah. Printing has got a lot of printing setups which we will look at later. Export it to another format, so maybe you want to do a PDF format, you can export from here. Yeah. And the most important is, if you want to make changes to your environment, you select the options. Yeah. And in the options, you go to advanced, so you can do all your settings, you may change whatever you want in your environment. So this is what we have seen in our previous session, right? Customize ribbon, what do you want on your toolbar, so you can see all of it. So for example, these things are already there, right? But suppose if I wanted let's say I wanted a save as option, okay, on one of the on my uh, toolbar. So I can just say select the new group, save as, and you say add. So save as get added to the new group. So let's see how it looks. Yeah, so you have a save as option. So instead of going to file save as, you can click save as from here. So this is entirely up to you how you set up this environment. Title bar, menu bar, toolbar. All what is there in the tools is there in all of the menus. Okay, so when you click the menu, the toolbar will keep changing. So you go to design, the toolbar will look different. You go to insert, the toolbar will look different. So when you are in file, you have those options there related to the file. Today we will do what is there in the home menu of Microsoft Word. So it is all to do with creation of the text, editing of the text, and formatting of the text. Okay, so you click on home. Yeah, so I have got this sample document, right? This sample document has got a lot of paragraphs, so it is good that we would be able to play around with this file, right? I have not deliberately wasted time in creating content. So as soon as you start typing, that's how you generate the content, right? So let's look one by one each of these options that are there in the home menu. Okay, so it's broadly divided into, can you see this clipboard, font, paragraph, styles, the editing, voice, sensitivity, editor, and the new group is what we have added. Okay, so this is something that we have customized, not necessary every time you'll have to do that. So it depends on which version of Word you are using. So as you go to the more advanced version, you will have more advanced features. But it really does not make a difference even if you have an older version. So if you have a Microsoft Office 2010 also, it is good enough to start with. It's good enough for most of the basic things that are there. If you create a document in the earlier version, it should be readable and it should be editable in the newer and the latest versions. Conversely, it is not true. That means if you create a document in the latest version, it need not be seen, or it is not necessary it will open correctly in the older versions. So that's a upward compatibility that is commonly there. Yeah. So let's begin. Can you see my screen? On my screen, I have a sample document whose contents a basic philosophy. Okay, I am going to try each one of these tools or demonstrate each one of these tools. So, one thing that never needs to be taught is the copy paste option across applications. Okay, across the tasks that you do, you probably have used this feature the most. So, what I'm going to do is demonstrate to you copy and paste. In order to copy, you need to select. You can either use your mouse to select copy, or then you say Control C. I'm going to be using Control C, Control C, and then I'll just press and enter and Control V, or I could have right clicked and I say paste. Also, it will give me the similar thing. So I have three humanist movement over here, right? This is the copy paste. Now, how does cut paste work like? When you say, if you want to select everything, you have to just double click that word, it will be selected. Or then you drag the mouse over with the help of your left mouse button. And then you say cut. Can you see the scissor here? You can use this or you can say Control X. So you must try to use and as many shortcuts also, keyboard shortcuts. Don't rely on the mouse. Okay, when you use keyboard shortcuts, you memorize them. So Control S, 100%, it means save. Control O is for opening, Control N is for a new document, Control P for printing, right? So try and grasp those shortcuts, memorize them, use them again and again. So what will happen is there will be muscle memory. That means even your hands will remember, your fingers are going to remember the keystroke combination for doing a task, right? And then you don't need to really keep dragging the mouse over. So people find it using the mouse easier, but there is a lot of time that is lost in moving the mouse. So you'll move the mouse, you'll position the mouse, then you drag the mouse over, then you say copy, then you say paste. So it takes more time. As against that, Control C, Control V. So if I want to use cut, I will use Control X, or I use the scissor option, and then I go to another line here and I say Control V. So Control X moves the earlier text to a newer position. So it gets deleted from its original position and then it changes the position. Okay. So can you see this title called clipboard? So clipboard means something. So for example, if I said Control C, I have copied the text. Where is this copy maintained? Where is this information maintained? There is a memory allocated for this clipboard. So it's like a rough work column of your maths, wherein this will be stored till you do a control V, or till you do a paste. So for example, I did a copy here, but I used a new document. I created a blank document and now I used control V. Okay, the document has changed, yet your control V is working. That means it has temporarily stored your control C. Where is it stored? It's stored in clipboard. Got it? Okay. So control C, control V, control X, control V. Clear? So let us go back to our document. So I have this original document with me. Now, for some reason, if I want to change the color, from where do I change the color? Select this and let's say I give a font color of red. And then I also want to give a background color. See where I have selected. I want to give a background color of blue, right? So I have formatted this text in certain way, a color combination. You can choose any number of colors, but just because there are lots of colors and lots of styles, you need not use everything. Maintain a discipline about how you are going to use these colors. Use them with some sense. Don't just use all color, don't just use all kinds of fonts. So if there is a document that you create, stick to a certain font. You cannot use a Times New Roman font in one paragraph and an Arial font in another paragraph, right? So you have to follow certain discipline of formatting. So now what I want to demonstrate is, you have this, you have formatted it in certain way. Now with the cursor here, I have put the cursor here where my formatting is done. I will select the brush tool. Okay, so what my brush does is, it copies the formatting, not the content, only the formatting. Okay, and then when I drag the brush over any other text, it will do the same kind of formatting. Easy. It doesn't take any time. So it's not only for one. I could do it for an entire paragraph. So I select this and I just drag it over, and that's how my formatting is done. And now the usual stuff. I want to get back to my original format. Control Z, or I select this and then I say undo the formatting. Clear all formatting. Select this, clear all formatting. Either Control Z or clear all formatting. How does this Control Z work? So Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office maintains a history of all the commands that you're using. So for example, you change the font, you change the font size, you gave a style, and then you increased you gave a certain style of display. So it maintains all that in a sequence. And then when you say Control Z, it, it undoes the effect of the last command, right? So likewise, you can roll back to your original data. In case you really messed up with the document and by mistake you deleted some content, for example, see, I'll show you what happens commonly. You select this and you press an enter. Your data is gone. You did it very naturally. You did it unknowingly, but your data is gone. What do you do in such a case? Yeah. Have you thought what you can do? Control Z is the first option, or you just quit the file without doing any save changes. Just leave the file. So at least you will get back your original data. You need to remember that data is the most important thing. There is no insurance for data. You can take several backups, but nobody will give you insurance for your data. That's entirely your responsibility. So maintain sufficient backups. Be careful while saving. In case you messed up your document, go back to the earlier version or just quit without saving. That's the best and the fastest way to get to your original starting point of the document. So if you've got this, let's move on to the next set of tools in Home. So today we are going to do all these formatting stuff, how you can improve the aesthetics of your document, how you can make it look much, much better. So now you have got this document. We will try all of these tools that are over here. So current font is Calibri. Can you see over here? It is Calibri. So what I will do is I will select all of this, for example, and I'll change the font to Times New Roman, right? I will select this and change the font size to 14, right? But I realized I don't want this font size. I would love to reduce it. So instead of typing here, you could also use this A with a down arrow. It will reduce the font size, right? But I want to increase it by 1. Again, click on this. Okay. Out of this, I want to make this bold. So the shortcut is Control B. And the best part about these Office applications is a Control B in Word is same as Control B in Excel, is same as Control B in PowerPoint. So you learn it once, your fingers get used to this kind of a keyboard stroke, they will remember it all across. And you will be able to work faster. Don't you observe many times when you ask somebody a difficulty, they'll come and they'll quickly operate the keyboard, and you're at a loss of sight. You don't know what they did, but they've got the result. So that's the most efficient way of working. Instead of using a mouse, try and use the keyboard shortcuts. Control B, Control I. So if I give Control I, it is italics. Okay. So when do you use an italics? Maybe when the word doesn't belong to that set of commands or those set of words or a sentence. For example, you're using a local language word in your text for some reason. Let us say I use the word pani. Okay, so pani is not an English word, but I still want to use it for some specific purpose. So I say pani and I put an italics. So it gives the reader a feeling that this is a slightly different word, not a normal thing that is happening. So that's the way you enhance your document. And obviously, Control U is for underlining. So you have an underline. And now if you want to remove the entire formatting, click on clear all formatting. So you're back to your normal, right? I'll just click from your bold, italics, underline, and then I'll give it a nice style. I will say, okay, use this existing style, or I can pick up from your outline and shadow and color schemes. Yeah, so I could have used, yeah, and then I use a style which is glow. I use glow, right? So it gives that glow effect. However, if I don't want it, what do I do? Select it and clear all formatting. Okay. So can you see these three next to bold, italics, underline? That is strike through, subscript, and superscript. So when you want to get that, you will have to use one of these. For example, if I say intro and select intro and I click this strike through, that means I intended to put intro, but now I've cancelled it. So later on, if I want it, I can just, it will be highlighted that I didn't want it and I was intending to scratch it out, but it's there. So do I take a decision to leave it or delete it? Anyways, it will just bring out the effect of unwanted stuff in the document. Or if you're sharing it with somebody, then the person who reads it will know that okay, this is which had to be strike through, or which is not required in the document, or you have two minds about it, right? Now what we will do is we will try and use this subscript and superscript. Can you see this X2? So it's just like this. I will just increase the font, yeah, so that you will understand it better. So I put an X over here and I put 2, right? But I intended to put X squared. So I select it and I say superscript X squared. Whereas I change this back and now I will put G, but I want a subscript. So the next thing that I want is 1. I select 1 and I say subscript, right? Got it? If I change this subscript, it will go back to normal. Again, subscript. So got it? Subscript and superscript. So we've understood clipboard, we've understood how to give a font. There are several fonts here, but for a official document, generally a Calibri, Arial, Times New Roman is what you can use. There are others like website fonts, familiar web page fonts like Verdana, Tahoma. Yeah, you can use any one of those also. Yeah. Now we will move on to something called a change case. You understand uppercase, lowercase, sentence case. So uppercase is all capital, lowercase is all small. So suppose if I said this and I said change case to entire uppercase. So the whole thing has got converted to capital letters and it doesn't look very nice and appealing. So I change back to my sentence case. So it will follow the paragraph and when the sentence is cut, it will start with a capital letter. Like for example, discrimination, there is a full stop after it. You have I, which is capital. So that's a sentence case. So this word is understood on its own because of the punctuation that we have given, the full stops that it is given. So it understands the sentence and a beginning of every sentence would be capital. Likewise, if I want to do all lowercase, I will say lowercase. Okay, but this is not desirable. So then again, I go back to sentence case. And if I say toggle case, what is capital will become small and what is small will become capital. I say toggle case. So T is should be actually capital, but T has gone small letter or a lowercase letter, and the rest of it is uppercase, right? So if I want the proper format, it is sentence case. Capitalize each word. Okay, so I will just clear this format over here. Yeah, now I will use capitalize. Okay, 1 minute. I will just say sentence case. Yeah, I've already used the capitalize over here, so let me see if I can use this one. Yeah, capitalize each word. So first letter of every word would be capital. Sometimes this is desirable. You need it for some kind of formatting, so you can always use it, right? Then you have something called highlighting the text. Like you use a highlighter when you're reading a text, so you can use this highlighting option. The yellow and the green are most common. So this is not background, but this is just in the middle of the text. You want to bring forth a point, you want to draw attention of your reader to a point, you can just highlight it, right? Then you have a font color. We've already used this. For example, if I want to change the font color, I can use any one of these existing fonts. And if I want to apply it somewhere else, I just select the paintbrush and paint over the others so that the same format gets applied. So far everything okay. Clipboard, everything to do with the font, that means the word, the sentence, okay, the lettering, how what kind of a style you want, all this is available in font. Okay, now the next important part is paragraph. So let's move on to a different set of, yeah, to another page, so where you have this paragraph. Can you make out that the end of each sentence on this side is not aligned? That means one sentence ends here, another ends here, another ends here, and it doesn't look very good. So what you do is you select and you say, can you see this? Justify. So it will all be aligned towards the margin. So both the margins will have correct alignment of data. As against this, you can choose left aligned, the text will move to the left. If you choose right aligned, it will move to the right. And see, for sometimes you need dates to be on the right, you need yours sincerely to be on the right. So when you're doing some kind of a letter, a formal letter you're typing, you may require right alignment at times. So dates, addresses can go on the right, or you can stick to a format where everything is on the left. So that's the time that you can use this right and left alignment, right? Central, it will be centered throughout on the page, right? So I will just get the ruler on over here, and so that makes my margins clear. Okay, yeah. So back to my home, and now when I say let's search for certain points, let's say okay, so I have these new humanists share the following humanist attitudes. So what I decide is I will number these. Okay, these are 5 different points, and therefore I will number. So I can just put select on this. These are called bullet points, right? But AAA, BBB, CCC are not different points. They are sub points of point number one. So what I do is I select this and I move them inside, right? The moment I move them inside, Word understands that these are sub points. So under one you have A, B, and C. Same applies here. You push it inside. Okay, just scroll the mouse over, you will find the explanation for so indenting inside. Indent is push it a little inside, and if I don't want it, I can push it outside. Okay, indent. I can further indent, it will go still inside, right? Okay. Then I have something called the line spacing. So I select this. Can you see this? This is a single line spacing. That means the distance between the two lines. So here is where I can adjust that. I click on this and I say 2.0. Okay, some kind of document formats will require you to do these line spacing, especially research reports. They will say 1.5 spacing, so then you have to change the line spacing. Sometimes people go on to these practices just to increase the content, the volume of your report. So a report that is 10 page will look like a 20-page report, but what is really done, you have increased the line spacing. So don't go for such practices. Always create documents in the prescribed format. It speaks good about you, doesn't matter how small or how large the content is. So if don't try to bloat the content up by using techniques like line spacing. Yeah. Then you have a fill color. Okay, I will just justify this paragraph so that it looks better. I change back the line spacing to 1, and now I will give a background color. So select, or even if I keep it, just because it's a paragraph, see what it happens. I select this and I say entire paragraph is this color. So I've got a background color for the paragraph, right? This is a very important feature of your, this is an important feature of editing text in the Microsoft Word. So when it's a paragraph, you don't have to select all of it. You just keep your cursor on the paragraph and you apply the formatting. How does Word recognize a paragraph? When you press an enter mark, it considers it as a paragraph. So if I click this, it will show me all those hidden characters. So wherever I find this is the end of paragraph. This is the end of paragraph. Now let me show you one more thing. So suppose if I press an enter here, right? And then I press an enter here also. What have I done? It was a single paragraph, but I have created 3 paragraphs because that's the way Microsoft Word will understand it as a different paragraph. So now I click here and I give a background color. It applies only to that line. Realize it doesn't apply to the rest of the line. So then when I click here and I give a blue color here, it's a different one. Now I will delete this. I will delete this also. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So realize I removed the paragraph end marks, and therefore the whole thing has got formatted like a single paragraph. So unnecessarily we don't enter, you don't press the enter or the carriage return after you finish typing the sentence. You go on typing and Word will automatically wrap the text as per your margin size. You realize you go on typing. See, for example, if I wanted to type something like this, okay, This is a MS Word training session for management graduates. We learn how to format and edit text so that, see, I didn't press an enter, so that our paragraph is not cut. So you go on typing, you don't press an enter. Word will automatically wrap the text around, and when there's a logical end of a point, you just press an enter. So now when I give a formatting, let us say I highlight that, or I give a background color or a font color, let us say red. Yeah, background color of, I'll select a different background color of blue. The entire paragraph gets selected. If I apply line spacing of 3, the entire paragraph gets the line spacing, right? So you want to add space before the paragraph, after the paragraph, that also can be set from here. But right now, sufficient to know this much. As you keep generating more and more documents, you will use features like these. Okay, so I'll keep the line spacing 1 as usual. Okay, so all this understood. Bullet points, you can either number it or you can give a bullet point. So instead of numbering, I could have selected this and I say, okay, bullet points. So the numbers have changed to bullet points. It's entirely up to you what you desire to give. So as you keep indenting it, the number system will go on changing. So you have 1, then you have A, then you have a Roman 1 in small, and then again 1 in numeric, then A. So this kind of a formatting style you can apply if you have sub points to your main point. Right? You can see this icon. This is for borders of tables. Right now we will not use it. We will use it when we are doing tables. All right. So we've done with clipboard, font, paragraph. I hope everything is clear so far. It's all to do with formatting and beautifying your text, but that's important because it will convey half the meaning. Half your job is going to be done if you format. That's our first principle. Format your data correctly, right? Now these are certain styles here that you can see. If you want, they are heading styles or they are paragraph styles, right? So if I go on selecting or moving further, I will find these styles. So for example, this is humanist movement and I apply this style. So I get this style. Try and use maximum ready-made options so that you don't have to spend too much time and you're able to quickly generate these kind of documents, right? So yeah. Now, for all of this, you will also see these small arrows. So you have more of it. Paste all, clear all, or move and resize. So more options under that. So if I go here, I will see more options that are possible. I can select from here. I can say double strike through, superscript, subscript. So most of it is available in the toolbars. But when I click on the arrow, something that is missing and is not here, you will probably be able to find here also. Text effects, set as default. So what default font you want. Okay. You have an advanced tab where you say scaling. You can scale your document down to 80%, let us say. Okay, and you say okay. So you have 80% scaled down. Then if you click here, you have indentation, you have spacing. So what you can do from here, you can do more in more detail when you click on that right slant arrow that you can see. So lines and page breaks, keep the lines together, okay, or suppress line numbers, these kind of things will be available. So when you are doing, so yesterday we have covered file, now we are doing home what I expect you to do is check all menu items under file, check all options under the home. Okay, now I'm using an Office 365 version, so that's probably the latest. So you've got some more things, add-on things over here, which I will demonstrate. But if some of you don't have it, that is absolutely fine. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we say find and replace editing. That means I have, let us say, there are multiple ways in which you can use find replace. First, you find for short forms, abbreviations, and replace them with full forms. So, for example, SBI I have used throughout my document. It really means State Bank of India. So, find SBI, we replace it with State Bank of India. So, that will replace all the State Bank of SBI with State Bank of India. You don't have to go and edit. Or I made a mistake. Proper nouns, you probably can make mistakes in the naming. What I understood as my name and how I spelled it is actually different from the original. So you realize you made a mistake, you can rectify that mistake. Okay. Or several other places you can use this find and replace. How does it work? So let's try finding the word humanist and replacing it with the word being human. So I will say find. What do I find? Find humanist. Find humanist. And then I will say replace. So replace with what? Being human. Being human. I have an option to replace one by one or replace all. It says 26 replacements done. Okay. So now what I will do is, again I will do this find, but I will check more options. So should I match the case? Okay. So now I've already replaced this. That entire case has changed. The word only has changed, so I cannot find. So let's say, 1 minute. I find Control C, Control V, and replace it with humanist, right? So I will say now match case. That means all the capital human being wherever you are finding, replace that. So I will say replace, match this case, match prefix, match suffix. So all these things you can give additional find instructions. Okay, replace format. So you want to change the format, replace special, caret, tab character, all these things you can use from find replace, a very handy tool. So when I say replace, 26 replacements made, my being human has come back to humanist, right? So this is my find replace option. Okay. uh, can you see this dictate? This is a feature of Office 365. I think some of you may not be having, but this is it's a beautiful feature. It will transcribe whatever you are speaking. Okay, so let's go to the end of the document, and okay, I will hide this character so it looks a much better document. So now whatever I say after dictate would be typed into my document. So when I click on dictate, my mic will become on, and whatever I speak would be transcribed. So today's session was devoted to creating a document, editing a document, and formatting a document. We walked through all the tools in the toolbar for the home menu. The first one was clipboard, the second one was font, the third was paragraph, the fourth was styles, the fifth was editing, the sixth one is the voice transcribing. Thank you. Stop dictate. Yeah, it is not easy. So it's like when you want to dictate, you want to take notes, you can keep that on and it will automatically put in the text. A very easy tool, but some of us don't realize that it is available, or we are hesitant to use. So in our lifetime, whichever application we are doing, we use only 40% of what is actually there. So 60% of it is unused. So when you're learning a new application itself, try and walk through everything that is there and available. So you know its use. Whether or not you use it, it's a different thing. But you must be well versed with what all features are available. Okay. The next one is an editor over here. So an editor prompts you with corrections. Are there spellings? So if I have spellings, yes, there must be some spellings. It is not an institution. So it's saying IT. Okay, now that's a spelling because I have changed the font. So it gives suggestions. So I'll say, okay, the first one. Okay. Or I can say ignore. So I can use the suggestions. Now there are certain things for English also. So it will give some grammar suggestions. It's up to me whether I want to listen to the editor or no. But a good idea always is to go through the editor or go through a spell check and a grammar check before you pass on the document. A correct language in your document talks a lot about you. It's also respecting the person or the receiver to whom you are sending this document, right? So uh, an advice would be to always spell check your document before you forward it or before you print it. Glaring English mistakes, spelling mistakes are not a very good idea. They don't speak very good about you, right? So what we will do is we will take a quick review of what we did today. Earlier session we had checked the environment of Microsoft Word. Today's session we saw creating a document, editing the document, and formatting a document. Formatting is an important principle of using of all of MS Office products or all of Office suite products, be it anything, whether it is Star Office, Open Office, or Microsoft Office. Formatting is an important aspect. Okay, so what are those formatting things that we learned? You have font, you have the font type, font name, font size. You can increase or decrease. You can change the case, uppercase, lowercase, or you can erase all of the formatting. Styles may you have bold, italics, underline, strike through. I have explained each of the meaning. Why do you need to do that? Especially strike through. So you intended to type, but now you're not sure. So you give a strike through so the other person knows that you are contemplating whether to keep it in the text or not to keep it in the text, right? So that was your original idea, but now you scratched it. Then you have superscript, subscript. You have mathematical documents that you have to create. The formulas that you put in, you can use these kind of options for superscript and subscript, right? Then you have highlighting text, the text color, the text style. All this is inbuilt. You just have to pick and choose. But one thing to remember is instead of using the mouse, try and use the keyboard shortcuts that are there. Okay, the next is paragraph. Paragraph is an important concept in Word. Word does not consider it as a paragraph unless and until you press this enter character, return or enter. Okay, so when you keep your cursor in the paragraph and you apply some kind of formatting, the entire paragraph, the formatting is applied. Okay, all these symbols are alignment, left aligned, right aligned, center, and justify. Then you have bullet points either in the form of some symbols or numbers or number formats. That means you have Roman numbers or you have 1, 2, 3, okay, or you have an ABC character. These are your indentations, outer indent. You decrease the indent, you increase the indent. Indent highlights the subparts of a document. So, for example, when I went here and I indented this, it means these are sub points of the main point. So that's your indentation. When I click here, it is an indented document. You can also press a tab. Tab is also a very important. Let's say when I press a tab here, it will take it as a sub point. Okay. So when you want alignment, instead of pressing spaces, you must press tabs. Your document looks, it's easier to align the document. the formatting does not change. With space, it can change. So instead of a space bar to create certain indentation, you use tab for creating the indentation. It is much better, right? Then you can sort your points that you have put in an alphabetical or numeric way. So suppose, for example, let me just check it. I put numbers over here, and now I say sort it uh, by number descending. Okay, so it's not applied. It will be applied to a tabular format. So this may not be useful for a paragraph. And this one is for borders of tables, so we will not look at it now. Style is all these heading styles that you can give based on whatever you want. So selection will get the format. So suppose if it was this and I used a style like this, it would look something like this. But Control Z, I don't want this style. Find and replace several applications, correcting your mistakes throughout the document, finding abbreviations and replacing them, finding a spelling mistake and replacing it with the correct spelling. All these things could be done using find replace. A more refined find and a replace is available under the more option. So when I say find and I have find and replace, then I can select. So find what, let us say I use only philosophy. Okay, and then I click on replace. Under more, you will have all of these options which will refine your replacement and find. Okay, dictate is available with this version of Word. Please check whether it is available with you, and this is that automation part that I'm saying. Now instead of typing everything, you could have just spoken, or my entire session that I'm doing, I would have kept the dictate on, and it would have automatically typed whatever I'm speaking right now to you as a live session, correct? So nice thing to record uh, when you're speaking in a class, when you're giving some kind of a demo, you can just click the dictate option on. Everything would be documented automatically. Later on, you can always format it. So at least you have the basic text without doing much of a data entry kind of a job, right? So then you have an editor. An editor is all your grammar suggestions, spelling suggestions. It's up to you whether you want to take those suggestions. Okay, so this is what we have done as a part of today's learning. I hope all of you uh, have understood what needs to be done as a part of formatting the document. So the exercise for today, you remember what we had done in the last session? I had asked you to use a template for resume and create your own resume. In today's session, the homework is pick up any set of text. You can download text from Google. Suppose you are interested in some kind of a hobby, let us say music. So you download certain document, or you download text, copy text from a web page, paste it to a new Word file, and apply all the formatting that we learned today. Each and everything, unless and until you try, you will not memorize where it is on the menu bar. So try all of this formatting on a fresh piece of text which you can download and generate a document. Assignment number 1 was creating a resume using the available resume formats. Assignment number 2 is download or copy paste a piece of text of your choice, at least a one page, okay, onto your blank document. Give a paragraph formatting, font, color, highlight, copy paste, use the format painter, all of it that we have learned today. All right. So I hope you have captured most of it. And yeah, so what we will do is, in the next session, we will take a quick recap. And if you have not done what I'm asking you to do today as a part of your task to be done at home or as an assignment, then as we move on to the advanced level, it will get difficult to you. So once you create 2 or 3 documents for practice, you can keep using those same documents for enhancing the further features. So we will stop the session for today. If you have any difficulties, you can always post it, but I advise you to first try it out and then you come up with difficulties. Then you'll be able to understand the solutions to those difficulties. All right. Thank you so much, and we will end the session over here. Thank you.